Welcome back to Capitalism.com. This is Ryan Daniel Moran. It is always a special thing for me when I am able to bring one of our students onto the show and to brag about all the hard work that they are doing. And that is today. Damien Law started off as a 20-year-old student in the Capitalism Incubator with no idea of what he wanted to do. He just wanted to become an entrepreneur. And he has not built a seven-figure business yet, but he has built the foundation for what is an obvious seven-figure brand. You may have heard me talk about him in passing before here on the show or in my email newsletter, but Damien launched a cookie brand called Effin Good Snacks, E-F-F-I-N, Effin Good Snacks. And what Damien did was follow the plan that we talk about here on the podcast and in my book and inside the 1% of building a small audience that he could launch his product to. So he started creating TikTok videos. Some of them went semi-viral and he built a launch list of a few thousand people. So when he was ready to take sales, he had a really profitable launch. Now that was following the playbook of what we've talked about here on capitalism.com to the T. He just followed the plan and it worked. But what was really impressive about what Damien did was how he built connection and raving fans while doing the documenting of the process. So Damien followed the work of the people who came before him on choosing perfect products, building an audience, and then he really became a master at the launch process itself. So much so that people are hiring him as a consultant to help them build their e-commerce brands as well. So Damien is one of our early success stories inside of the Capitalism Incubator. I've invited him onto the podcast to share a little bit about how he pre-sold 2,000 units of a product in a very competitive category with no ad spend and no attention. He just grinded his way to that, and that's what we'll talk about on this episode. This is happening right now, and you will feel that inspiration after listening to this chat with Damien. And if you want to do this for yourself and in your business, come join us inside of the 1% and apply for a spot at capitalism.com/1. All right, enjoy this case study with Damien Law. Damien Law, I have been waiting for this day since you joined the Capitalism Incubator, my friend. We get to bring you on now as a freaking success story. How are you?
Dude, I'm good, man. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to chat.
Dude, I love these, right? I mean, because you started off in this community not even knowing what the heck you were going to sell, and then you crushed Pitch Week, and now you've had a awesome launch, and I know you're still in the grind of it all, but you're starting to see liftoff. And so I wanted, like, this stuff matters, and I wanted to come in and highlight you as somebody who is doing the right things at this point in the journey, even though you haven't crossed 1 million yet, right? Like, I know that it's going to be $1 million business because you're doing the right things in the early phases of the business. And I just want to share a quick story. I don't think I've ever told you this story, and I'm going to say it publicly.
Okay.
So it was about 6 months ago or so that my investment partner, Sam, and I were actually considering giving you capital from the investment fund. And the numbers just weren't there, right? Like, you hadn't figured out all your different pieces yet. And it just wasn't the ideal time for it.
Yeah.
And but I was saying, like, every time we look at a deal, one of us is yes and one of us is no. It's how we go into it. One of us needs to be pushing for it, and one of us needs to be the brake. And I was yes guy in that mode. I was like, but Damien's got the right mindset. He's doing the right things. He's going to be a winner. And Sam came back to me a few months ago and was like, he was like, I get it. Like, I see it now. He's like, Damien's just doing all the right things. Like, Damien's head is in the right place. So I just want to edify you publicly that you are doing all of the right things for this journey, and I'm really excited to be part of your process.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm still waiting for that text from Sam. So, whenever for that, tell him to send that text over.
I will. So, am I misrepresenting anything to say that when we met in the incubator, you didn't know what you were going to sell, you didn't know what your brand was going to be? This was a brand new journey for you. Am I remembering that correctly?
Dude, honestly, that feels so long ago, but it honestly, it was like a year ago.
Right.
Dude, I didn't know anything like a year ago. So if you look back at me a year and a half ago till now, I'm like a completely different person. I went into it I wanted to make money, right? I think all entrepreneurs get into the game to want money and freedom. But the more I kind of like listened to your stuff and kind of like what you've been talking about, the more I knew like, shit, I gotta build a brand, something I'm truly passionate about, something that I personally struggle with, and it's a problem that a lot of other people struggle with. So when I had that like switch from, you know, all I want is a check to like I want to build something meaningful in the world, like everything switched from, you know, the brand I want to create, the products, you know, how we talk, customer service, everything switched. So yeah, I'd say like, you know, a year ago, completely different Damien till now. I was like a baby then. So yeah,
Well, you're still
definitely learned a
what?
lot.
Are you 21 or 22?
I just turned 22 like 3 days ago, so I'm getting old, man.
Okay, you're getting old. You better hurry up,
Yep,
Damien.
yep.
So what I want to highlight here is that switch in your mind. But before we go into that, let's fast forward to the end. Let's talk about the good stuff. The good stuff meaning like the numbers and what you've done in the last 4 or 5 months, because that's where things really started popping. You went through supply chain issues and delays and all kinds of stuff, but you started seeing the early signs of success about 4 or 5 months ago. You just had a launch, and from what I remember, I think you've sold 2,000 units in a period of about 2 months. Is that right?
So I'll bring you back. So
Yeah.
we started making TikToks December 24th. We built a 6,000 person waiting list. So I decided to see how well the list would convert. So I launched pre-orders on January 27th, and from January 27th till now, we've sold about, you know, 2,000 units so far.
Okay, 2,000 units of
Yeah.
cookies that are not for sale on Amazon,
No.
not
So
being distributed by influencers, just from your
no.
own internal grinding.
Yep. Yeah. All organic TikToks and then emails as well.
Okay,
Yeah,
and
so
the price
it's a
point.
pre-launch too. So we haven't technically like officially launched. So if you go on our website right now, it's still like on pre-orders because our official production run isn't for like another 2 weeks.
So tell me a little bit about the strategy leading up to that, because you ordered 4,000 units,
4,000, yeah.
which I think was pretty much all the money you had. You put
All the money
everything
I
you
had.
had. So you're like all in on this. You got to sell
Oh yeah.
4,000 units.
Yep.
So the strategy for this was to build up as big of a launch list as possible in order to offset that cost. Or tell me a little bit about your mindset when you're going into it.
Yeah, so I definitely wanted to. So yeah, I started. I'll tell you a little bit about like the all-in part first. So I had a first business when I was freshman year of college. Built that up. It was all right. You know, nothing too special. So I made a bit of money there. So I decided when I thought about Effin Good Snacks, I decided to go all in. And I think it's like something special when your back is kind of against the wall. You think
Sure.
differently and you act differently, and just the overall way you kind of approach things is different. So yeah, we definitely wanted to build a launch list because we didn't want to launch to crickets. So with TikTok, we built a list, and then the whole strategy is kind of like a funnel. So TikTok is top of funnel, and then you got, you know, the middle ground, which is the emails, and then obviously at the bottom of the funnel is the sale. So we want to build up that list so that we own the customer. So whether, you know, we launch on Amazon in a month, we have that, we can send an email, people can go there. Eventually we want to be in retail. All we have to do is send an email. Hey guys, we're in Whole Foods.
Yeah.
So yeah, we want to, the reason I think email is so powerful, especially for us, is we get to document and build in public about what we're doing. So we get to share, you know, why we decided to create the brand, why we decided to create the product, what we're currently up to, and just really build a deeper connection with the people reading our emails. And I think that's, especially in today's day and age, that's all that matters is connection. And because when someone's emotionally invested in your brand, they're emotionally invested in your journey, they're emotionally invested in your brand. So that's kind of how we approach everything.
Yeah, and when you say that, you mean in the way that you are talking about the brand and sort of peeling back the curtain and just showing all the highs and lows and the mistakes and everything going on in the business. That's how you're creating connection. Is that
Yeah,
what you
yeah,
mean?
exactly. So like leading with value, whether, you know, whoever's watching this, whether that's in the form of like entertainment, education, just kind of sharing the highs and lows, what's going on. And then the sales, I think it's a byproduct of that because when people is bought
That's
in
right.
like truly, even if you don't intentionally ask for the sale, people want to support you. But
That's right. And
if you reverse that and you ask for the sale first, like no one wants to get sold to, just straight
so
up like
Damien, we
that.
need to highlight something you said here. You said leading with value, but you sell frickin' cookies. You
Yeah.
know, so like there's so much to unpack there about what the heck is actually happening. So to illustrate this, can you share what some of the most viral videos that you posted were on TikTok? Because that's where a lot of your exposure and your lead flow is coming from. So what were your most viral videos on TikTok?
Basically two categories. A, founder story. So, the first video that went viral for me was like why I dropped out of college to start a cookie company. And then B is recently I decided to experiment with like sampling videos. So, I was in LA 3 weeks ago, and I would walk around Venice Beach with like a tray full of samples, and I just like ask people, "Hey, we're launching a company. Do you want to try some samples?" So those two categories work really well. But I think like majority of the real deep connection is the founder story and sharing why you decided to start the business and how it's gonna like help the person watching. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So if I remember correctly, you told the story about why you started selling cookies, nighttime snacking cookies, because you
Yeah.
always would get the munchies and they would interrupt with
Hmm.
your sleep. And you decided, hey, let's do this a little bit differently. And that video took off and built a decent percentage of your list. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So what did you do to bridge the gap between someone seeing your content and then buying on launch day? Because followers does not equal sales per
Hundred
se.
percent.
So what was your process in the in between of somebody seeing a video on TikTok to becoming a buyer of your cookies?
Yeah, which is why emails are so important, right? Because TikTok is a top of funnel. It's awareness, and where you really build and nurture your list is in the emails part. So, sorry, what was the question?
How did you bridge the gap between people seeing your content and
Right.
becoming a
Okay.
buyer?
Yeah. So I had in the beginning, I had a link in bio. So all that link was to was a simple landing page with a headline and a sub headline, kind of explaining, this is the product. This is why it's different. And then these are the features. Sign up if you want to be the first to know it. That was all it was. There was no like
Yeah.
fancy user experience stuff. It was just a very simple page I built on lead pages. So in the beginning, once I had that viral video, people would click through to my profile and they would see that link. And above the link would be a text that just says, join the waitlist. And then people would click that link, submit their email. And then the hard part, I think, is how you really nurture that list. That's most important. Like you can get all these email subscribers, all these followers, but at the end of the day, if they're not fully bought in, they won't convert when you
Right.
make the sale, right? So top of funnel content, and then the email piece, all I did was basically the same thing I did on TikTok, but in just text. So just sharing. This is, we're like 3 months or like we're like 3 weeks delayed, guys. Feeling like super anxious and nervous about everything, or like this is the first review we got. So just basically read the book, guys. Read the book. It's basically what everything you talked about.
You're talking about my book? Is that what you're talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah, your book. Your
Okay,
book.
okay. Thank you for the endorsement, Damien.
Yeah,
So you were once in a while sending out emails about
once
company
a week.
updates here
Yeah, once a
once a
week.
week. All right.
Yeah,
Perfect. So you were literally following the playbook exactly, which
pretty
is you're
much.
building up the launch list, you're sending a weekly email about what's going on in the company. That's warming up the audience. So you go to launch, right? It's launch day. You're
Mm-hmm.
nervous as heck. Tell me
Yep.
the story about launch day.
Yeah. So week before we decided to go for the pre-order launch, we kind of hyped it up. So have you read the book Launch by Jeff
I'm
Walker?
familiar with it. Jeff Walker,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I basically kind of followed that outline. There's was scarcity and a time limit, I think, that I kind of instilled from the beginning. So we said that the first, 1,000 people or like first 1,000 units sold will get their orders a month and a half before everyone else does. So the week leading up before that, we started hyping it up, 3 days, 2 days, 1 day, tomorrow. So the day, that's a funny story, the day before we actually launched, everything I did to our website didn't save. So I literally stayed up from 12 to like
Oh.
5:30 in the morning, just trying to like fix everything, make sure the emails are good. But like the funny thing is you're tired, but you're not tired because like you're just so excited about what's about to happen. So we sent out an email at like 9 a.m. The website was password protected, right? So people were on their emails at 9
Interesting.
a.m. to get the password to the website. So it was the password and the scarcity that I think really drove people to take action on day one. So people, yeah, were on their inbox at 9 a.m. with the password to the site, and then yeah, it was just it was an amazing feeling, you know. I called
And
you or you called me,
I called
and
you, yeah.
yeah,
And what did the results end up being like?
yeah. So we sold 700 units on day one, and then maybe it was 600 and then 100, I forget. But it was like 700 within like 2 days, right? And then from January, end of January to now, it was like 1,300.
Okay, so let's talk about that. I mean, that's a hella impressive launch. 600 or 700 units within a couple of days, whatever it was, on
Yeah,
your first product with no ad spend. You're just making a couple TikTok videos documenting the process. This is fantastic progress
just a
on
couple ticky talkies.
yes, and in a market like cookies. It's amazing.
Yeah,
But obviously that momentum doesn't
no.
continue forever. Like you go through a period in which there's a dip and it feels like nothing's happening again. So first of all, how did you manage that? And second of all, how have you've kept sales going consistently even if they're not 600 a day. So tell me about what has happened post launch.
It's the hardest thing in the world, I'd say, when you feel like nothing's happening. Because basically, with anything you do, starting a business or creating content on TikTok, you go through these cycles of up and down, right? You'll have one thing that really hits, and then you're on an upwards trend, and then it goes down, and then nothing's going to happen, and then you're
Yep.
going to have that hit. So, like, I think the most I've learned about myself and building the brand has been during those times when nothing is happening, because you really got to remind yourself like why you're doing this and what this is all for. And I think
Yep.
for me, during those times, I just try to do one thing that really moves the needle, figure out what really moves the needle, and just keep pounding it, just keep pounding on it. And for me, that was making videos because that's what got all our sales and conversions from. So it's really navigating those tough times that make the upward times like worth it. So
And
it's been hard, and I'd say like if anyone, you will go through this, like there's no doubt. And the best thing you can do, I think, is surround yourself with like people that are on the same journey as you, which is why I think having a community of like-minded people is so important. Just talk about things, have someone
yep.
around close to you that you can like share things with, you know, and just talk about your day. I think that's super underrated and has helped me like navigate a lot of like the tough emotions you get from being an entrepreneur.
Oh, I can relate. We love to think that we can operate in a silo as an entrepreneur, and
Yeah.
no, we
Nope.
cannot. So
Yeah.
so what is the when you don't have that buzz post launch, how do you maintain the sales to be able to sell through that inventory? Because you are you're bankrolling this thing, you're bootstrapping this thing, you've got to sell those units and you're halfway through, which is great, but you got another order coming in, right? And like,
Yep.
you've got it all on the line. So what are you doing to maintain that momentum after you have a killer launch and now reality has set in?
I document it. So, you know, for the first, I still do that now, but especially post launch, so what I did was I had this like whiteboard, and then I would write how many units we've sold, take a picture of it, of my, like get my girlfriend to take a picture of
Love
myself
it.
holding it, send it to the
Love it.
email list. So that was one way we kind of, you know, because people like seeing momentum, right? I don't know who said this, but I heard it somewhere. It was like if you're driving and you see someone stuck on the side of the road, you wouldn't get out and help them. But if you see someone, you know, actively pushing the car up the hill, you would get out and help him. So I
It's a
think
good
like
analogy.
yeah, yeah, and so like I think just back to the documenting part. When you show people like, oh, this kid is actually like doing something, then people are more willing to, support. And then we also did that on the TikTok side where we shared like how many units we've sold. So today is day, 66 of me trying to sell through 4,000 units. Today we sold like X amount. We still have this much. And yeah, we've gotten quite a few sales from that too. And it goes back to the point of like people want to see people doing cool shit.
And I also know that people have reached out to you and tried to open up doors for you, right? Our mutual friend Bill put you in touch with a co-packer. I'm
Yeah.
sure that some people have reached out to you and offered to help in interesting ways. Can you tell us some of the stories of that?
Yeah, Bill's a legend. He hooked me up with a co-packer. So I think it also goes back to like building the network of people who can like lift you up. And a great place for that for anyone watching is LinkedIn. I started sharing like my journey on LinkedIn like November, and I've met like crazy amounts of cool people, investors, retailers, people in the same food and beverage space that can, help me find like packaging materials. So it just goes back to the same thing of like building in public. So
But
all
like,
I do,
tell me some stories. Like, who has opened up their network or opportunities for you? Like, what types of people have opened up opportunities for you as a result of you documenting the process?
I'll give you an example from recently. So I was in
Yeah,
LA 3 weeks ago to visit our manufacturer, and the whole point was to get some content, ship out the first couple batch. So I didn't have like a place to ship things out of. So all I did was make a simple post on LinkedIn. Hey guys, I'm in LA. Does anyone have a space I can borrow for like 3 days? And then this couple that owns a marketing agency hit me back and let me borrow their two door garage, helped me shipped out all the orders. So that's like one of the
amazing.
examples of just like, but that was like everything leading up to that, right? Because if I didn't start posting on there, I would have never had that
Right,
connection. So
right.
yeah, that was the most recent one I can think of. And then there was this other guy who hooked me up with a cookie co-packer he's used in the past. I reached out to him. We can lower our margins by like 20%, increase our margins by like 20%. So like
Yeah.
it's just like the little things that kind of like add up.
Yeah, and I mean, I love the analogy of somebody trying to push their car out. You would get out and help them because the reason that I'm featuring you today is because I see you doing the right things. The reason that I have emailed about you and I've posted about you, the reason like I've made you a hero among our community is because I've seen you pushing the car, right?
Hmm.
And there are so many other entrepreneurs who talk about doing it, who think about doing it, and complain about what's not working rather than getting out and trying to push the car.
Yeah.
And they're not willing to get out and push the car because they see no one helping them. But it's going out and actually pushing the car that makes other people want to rally behind you and help them. And
Yeah.
as a result, there are people who are literally lined up to buy from you and support you and be a part of this brand's journey.
Exactly. 100%.
Tell me
100%.
what the vision looks like in sort of the next chapter, because you're still super early. You've had early success, but you're nowhere near where you're going to be or where you want to be. So like, what does the next chapter look like?
Yeah. So Effin Good Snacks is like the overall vision is we want to reimagine your favorite, most popular late night junk foods because late night snacking has a bad rep. Whenever you think about late night snacking, you think about the most unhealthy things like ice cream or cookies or chips. And
Sure.
so we really want to change that narrative by like changing all the snacks you know and love into better for you options and with functional ingredients that can help you sleep. So we're starting off with cookies. We have a couple of flavors that we're in the works. But then once we kind of establish that, we're definitely going to come out with different products in different categories. And so we're going to be launching on Amazon, the first SKU right here. And then the future plans are going to be obviously, I think, especially for food and beverage, you have to be omni-channel. And so you have to have your own website, your Amazon, and then eventually retail. And so we're going to come out with all these different products. We're going to find which ones are the best selling and then take them to retail eventually. But, I think we just want to build a fun, relatable, young brand and just what Magic Spoon did for cereal, we kind of want to do for late night snacking. Because if you really If
Yeah.
you think about it, like Magic Spoons, yeah, sure, they sell cereal, but they sell nostalgia at the end of the day. And for me, at least, late night snacking is like a time where it's like comforting, it's unwinding. So whenever someone picks up a pack of these cookies, that it's late at night, we kind of want to bring that feeling back to them. And so that's kind of like the overall vision and what we're trying to get after.
Yeah, just a quick plug for you right away. One of the things I like about the cookies is they're super filling, and I can
Yeah.
eat a whole pack. So I ate a whole pack late at night. I don't feel bad. It's like 200 some calories, and I'm good, right?
Yeah.
Which like I'm a late night snacker just like you are. So
Yeah.
I've noticed that they're really filling, and I only want one, and I'm good to go.
Yeah.
Now, Damien, I know that you're bootstrapping this thing. How are you paying for your life while you are waiting for this thing to grow and scale?
That's a good question. So right now I have
That's
three
why I
jobs.
asked.
I have three jobs. So that's what's basically paying for my life. I don't take a penny from the business. So I have these three jobs that support my life. I can pay my bills, be an adult or whatever. And then I run my business on not the side, but like in parallel. So
What do you mean you have three jobs? You can't be working full time for three different people. So explain
I
what
have
that
three
means.
part-time jobs. So I work with Travis with the Pineapple Agency.
So
And
you're
then
doing pay per click for clients.
yeah, Google Ads.
Yeah. Okay.
And then there's another like side gig where I met this guy here locally, and he owns he has like a community of Amazon sellers. So he found me online, we connected, and then he offered me a job of just basically doing what I'm already doing, of just like sharing my journey, but to his community. So I got that going, and then I'm also taking.
Hold on a second. So somebody hired you to document your own journey as content. Is that right?
Yep, best job ever. Right?
So I want to pause here. I remember you told me this, but I had forgotten about it. What's kind of beautiful about this is you started doing it, and that opened up an opportunity for you to have a client / a job getting paid to do what you were already doing.
Isn't that awesome?
That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And yeah, I just like basically take what I'm already doing and then just kind of rinse and repeat. So that's kind of like the second side gig I got going on. And then the third, I have a sales job with Genius Juice. Have you heard of them? They were on Shark Tank.
I don't know Genius Juice. No.
Yeah, they were on Shark Tank. They're like a organic coconut smoothie company. So I just have like these three things going on. And yeah, it's just paying for my life,
And what's interesting about this, Damien, is all three of these opportunities will open up new areas for Effin Good Snacks as well.
All three started because I started documenting everything.
So the first one, exactly
the
that.
first one was I started documenting in the 1%. That's how I met Travis. Second one, what was it? I forget what it was, but basically the same thing. Third one was LinkedIn. I met the guy when I went to LA. He liked me, so he offered me a job. So all three of them were since I started Effin Good Snacks.
Yeah, so many people want there to be progress before they start, but it was you starting that opened up all these opportunities, and this progress that started to get you employment opportunities, started to get you networking opportunities, and most importantly, you're building skills. They're going to help you build Effin Good Snack. I mean, I don't think this is going to happen, but in a terrible world in which all of this went away next week, you still have three opportunities in an area where you want to be excellent, and you'll have the network and the capital and the skill set to be able to launch whatever it is that you want to do next, and you'll be 22 years old and in a position to have whatever business that you want.
Yep. It's pretty awesome, not gonna lie.
What does your friends, family, and girlfriend think about all this?
What does my family and girlfriend think?
Yes.
I'm really lucky because my girlfriend works in the same space that we're all in. She works for a customer service agency for e-commerce brands.
I think finding the right partner who you guys both have shared goals and values, and then you kind of both like walk in parallel. So I'm really lucky that I have a girlfriend that's super supportive. And my family initially wasn't, because I dropped out of college to do something that no one in our family has ever done. So obviously I get it. They're worried. But when they saw how committed and focused I am, I think they started to see like how much I really want this. And obviously as parents, like they started becoming more supportive and giving me advice, like all that. So it really goes back to like the car pushing thing too, right? Because they saw that I was pushing the car, so they got out and they helped me push too.
Yeah, I love it. Well, Damien, we are so on board with everything Damien Law. For people who want to follow the journey or give you employment opportunities or buy the cookies, what's the best place for them to get in touch with you and to support you pushing the car?
Yeah, so our website is just effingoodsnacks.com. You can, if you have any questions, happy to help. You can just reach out to me on LinkedIn. And then if you want to check us out on TikTok, it's just my name, Damien Law 123.
And the website is Effin, like EFFIN, goodsnacks.com. Damien, we're so proud of you, dude. Congratulations. I know it's early and it feels weird to hear congratulations this early because it still feels like you're in the grind, and I know you are, but you've got 20 some, maybe 30 some $1,000 in sales, 2,000 customers. You're selling through your first inventory. You have 20 some thousand people following your work. This is all the stuff that matters to build the foundation of a 7-figure business, and I'm just all on board. Congratulations, buddy. We're rooting for you.
We're just getting started.
And I would like to give you an opportunity to just give any parting words to anybody who has been sitting on the sidelines or is in a position that you were a year ago thinking about what the heck they're going to do. What would you tell them?
Getting started is the hardest part, but I think when you really do something you believe in and it's something you generally really want to see in the world, you're going to get it done. And
actually, I thought we were done with the interview, but I want to dive into this a little bit more because you said at the top of the call that when that switched for you, that's when things started opening up, that you got into this for the money, but then you found the thing that you actually cared about and that changed everything. So would you comment briefly on that transformation and how that hit for you? When and how did that hit and what changed as a result?
Yeah, so I started my first company freshman year of college. It was as a yoga brand. I don't know anything about yoga. I was just in it. I was just in it for the money. I mean, I know like a downward dog, but that's about it. So I did that for about a year. And during that year, I was just like really unhappy. Like we were making like decent money for a 19-year-old kid, but I was just like really unhappy. And I didn't know why. Like I thought like once I got the money, I would be happy, but I wasn't. So like I really, after the year, I kind of like sat down, put out a piece of paper and just really wrote like, where do I want to be in 5 years? Like, do I still see myself working on this company or do I see myself doing something else, right? So when I was brainstorming, so at one point I was just so burnt out, like my relationship suffered, I was unhappy, gained a couple pounds, and that was kind of like the moment I was like, okay, something's got to switch. And so I knew like, I love creating stuff, I love building from the beginning, so I knew I wanted to start a new company. And so when I was in the idea phase, I wrote down 3 things. It was A, is this something I see myself doing for the next 5 to 10 years? B, is it a problem that I personally struggle with? And C, is it a problem that a lot of people like have as well? And so those were the 3 main criteria. So I spent like a month just coming up with different ideas, seeing what problems or what annoyed me in my life. And just with that long checklist, I went back to those 3 questions and kind of see, do I see myself doing this for the 5 years? No? Okay, cross. So it just was like, crossing out things until eventually, I was late at night snacking, thought of the idea. And when you just know, like you just have this like feeling in your like gut that just tells you to kind of do it. And so like, I think everyone should start a business that you get that gut feeling about, that you're like so excited to do and you genuinely believe it. Because like when you believe in your idea, the more confidence you build in yourself, and the more confidence you build in yourself, the more you're willing to do it. And you really need that relentless hustle, especially in the beginning, and especially during those like downward trends, because that's what kind of pushes you forward. And so if you don't believe in your idea, you're not confident, then you won't do the thing. So anyone watching this or listening to this, like find something that annoys you. First of all, I think that's a very good idea. And then B, something you want to see yourself doing for a long time.
And if you identify those things, you'll start pushing the car. And if you start pushing the car, other people will get out and help you push. And then you end up pushing a car. Damien, again, so proud of you, dude. Rooting for you. Thanks so much for hanging out with us.